Now we're going to take a look at the rhythm that we're going to be soloing over. The jam track has 3 sections. We'll have the main riff, we'll have a B section, and then there'll be a solo section as well. So first we'll start off by talking about the main riff. For the main riff, we're going to be using some power chords, and we're going to be using a combination of pick and fingers. So let me show you the power chords that you're going to need to know first. We're going to have a G5 chord played on the 5th fret of the A and the D strings. We'll also have B flat 5, or B flat power chord, which is played on the 3rd fret of the D string, 3rd fret of the G string. We'll have C5 played on the 5th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G string. We're going to have F5 played on the 3rd fret of the A string, 3rd fret of the D string. And we'll have an E flat 5 chord played on the 1st fret of the A string, 1st fret of the D string. Now for the main riff, there's going to be 4 pieces that we'll learn, and then we'll put those together. So here's the first piece of the main riff. So whenever I play a power chord, I'm going to use my middle finger and my 3rd finger. Whenever I play the single note G on the 3rd fret of the low E string, I'll use my pick. So I'm going to start off with a G5 chord, followed by the note G to a B flat power chord. So far we've done this. Back to the note G, followed by C5. Back to the note G, followed by B flat 5. Back to the note G, followed by F5. Back to the note G. Now I'm going to play G5 and then pull off to F5. So I have to pull off from the 5th fret of the A and the D strings to the 3rd fret of those same 2 strings. So here's what we've done so far. And that much will be the same for every riff that we play that make up this main riff. So we're going to have 4 separate phrases, but for every phrase, that much of it will be identical. So once again, here's what we've done so far. Now I'm going to follow this with a G5 chord, single note G, B flat chord, the B flat 5 power chord, single note G, followed by the C5 chord. And that's our first of 4 riffs that go to make up this main riff. Here's the second phrase. So this starts off the same as the first phrase up to the point where we did the pull-off between the G5 to the F5. Now I'll go back to G5, single note G, B flat 5, E flat 5, E flat 5 once again, followed by F5. So here's the second phrase. Third phrase is the same as the first. And here's the fourth and final phrase of this main riff. Starts off the same way as the first, second, and third phrase started off, up to the point where we do the pull-off between the G5 and the F5. Now I'll play a G5, F5, and we end on E flat 5. So here's the fourth riff. And if we put all of that together, we get the main riff. And we're going to play that 2 times. So let's try that together now. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Now let's take a look at the B section. Here this is a little more of a melodic section. We're going to start off with 2 measures of a G minor chord, followed by 2 measures of E flat, 2 measures of F, 2 measures of D, 2 measures of E flat, 2 measures of C minor, 4 measures of D. At this point now we're going to have 2 chords per measure, G minor and C minor. Repeat that, a measure containing G minor and C minor, followed by 4 measures of D. Okay, so if we count in, here's how it sounds in context. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. So that's the B section. For the arrangement, we have the main riff followed by the B section, back to the main riff followed by the B section, and then we're going to have a solo section. So let's take a look at that solo section now. We're going to start off with A minor. We'll have that A minor for 2 measures, but on the last beat of that second measure, we'll play a G chord on the way down to an F chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And now we're going to hold this F chord for 2 measures, but on the last beat, we'll play a G chord on the way back to the A minor chord. So this gives us a 4-measure phrase, which will be played 3 times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Following this, we'll have 2 measures of D minor, a measure of E major, then I'll do a little riff based around this E chord. It'll actually be based around an E5 chord, a power chord, where I'm going to slide E up a half step to F, back to E, down a whole step to D, and back up to E. All of these are power chords. So at this point, we have 2 measures of D minor, 1 measure of E, and then this riff. So from the D minor chord, here's what we've done. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to repeat those 2 measures, 1 measure of E, and then our riff. At this point, we'll have 2 measures of E, followed by F, E, D, and then the final measure will contain E. So if I go back to the 2 measures of D minor, here's what we've just done. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. and then back into the main riff. So at this point, let's go back to the A minor chord and play the entire solo section. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, well there you have all of the parts for the backing track. So not only can you try and learn some of my examples and try and apply them with the backing track, but definitely go there and try and jam yourself and record yourself playing some of these riffs so you can show them to me sometime. Okay, have fun with that.